Om, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reciting from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, Verse 23. Yadasya nabhayan Aham asam mahatmanah navidam yajna sambharan purusha vayavan rate.
Hare Krishna. When I was born from the abdominal lotus flower of the Lord Mahavishnu, the great person, I had no ingredients for sacrificial performances except the bodily limbs of the great personality of Godhead.
Verse 24. Tesu yajnasya pasava savanaspataya kushaha idam cha devayachanam kalaschoru gunanvitaha.
For performing sacrificial ceremonies, one requires sacrificial ingredients such as flowers, leaves, and straw, along with the sacrificial altar and a suitable time, spring.
Verse 25. Vastuniyo sadaya sneha rasaloha mrudochalam rako yajumsi samani chaturhotram cha sattama.
Other requirements are utensils, grains, clarified butter, honey, gold, earth, water, the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and Samaveda, and 4 priests to perform the sacrifice.
Verse 26. Namadeyani mantrascha dakshinascha vratani cha deva tanukramaha kalpa sankalpastantrameva cha.
Other necessities include invoking the different names of the demigods by specific hymns and vows of recompense in accordance with the particular scripture for specific purposes and by specific processes.
Verse 27. Gatayo matayaschaiva prayaschittam samarpanam purusha vayaver ete sambhara sambrata maya.
This I had to arrange all these necessary ingredients and paraphernalia of sacrifice from from the personal bodily parts of the personality of Godhead by invocation of the demigods' names. The ultimate goal, Vishnu, was gradually attained, and this compensation and ultimate offering were complete.
Verse 28. Iti sambrata sambaraha purusha vayaver aham tam eva purusham yagnam tenaiva yachan ishwaram.
Thus I created the ingredients and paraphernalia for offering sacrifice out of the parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, the enjoyer of the sacrifice, and I performed the sacrifice to satisfy the Lord.
Verse 29. Tataste pratara ime rajanam patayo nava ayachan avyaktam purusham susamahitaha.
My dear son, thereafter your 9 brothers, who are the masters of living creatures, performed the sacrifice with proper rituals to satisfy both the manifested and non manifested personalities.
Verse 30. Tatascha manava kale ijire rasayo pare pitaro vibuddha daitya Manushya Kratubhirvibhum.
Thereafter, the Manus, the fathers of mankind, the great sages, the forefathers, the learned scholars, the deities, and mankind performed sacrifices meant to please the Supreme Lord.
Verse 31. Narayane Bhagavati Tadidam Vishwamahitam Grahita Mayoru Gunaha Sargadev Aguna Swataha.
All the material manifestations of the universes are therefore situated in his powerful material energies, which he accepts self sufficiently, although he is eternally without affinity for the material modes.
Verse 32. Srajami Tanniyuktoham Haro Harati Tatvasaha Vishwam Purusharupena Paripati Trishaktidrik.
By his will I create, Lord Shiva destroys, and he himself, in his eternal form of the personality of Godhead, maintains everything. He is the powerful controller of these three energies.
Verse 33. Iti te vihitam tata yathedam anuprachasi nanyat bhagavata kinchid bhavyam sat asad atmakam.
My dear son, whatever you inquired from me, I have this explained unto you, and you must know for certain that whatever there is, either as cause or as effect, both in the material and spiritual worlds, is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Verse 34. Na bharati menga mrasopalakshyate na vai kvachin me manaso mrasagati na me rishikani patantya satpate yan me hridau kantyavatadrato hari.
O Narada, because I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, with great zeal, whatever I say has never proved to have been false, nor is the progress of my mind ever deterred, nor are my senses ever degraded by temporary attachment to matter.
Verse 35. Soham samam na yamayastapomaya prajapatinam abhivanditapati asthaya yogam nipunam samahitas tam nadaya gaccham yata atmasambhava.
Although I am known as the great Brahma, perfect in the disciplic succession of Vedic wisdom, and although I have undergone all austerities and am an expert in mystic powers and self realizations, and although I am recognized as such by the great forefathers of the living entities, who offer me respectful obeisances, still I cannot understand him, the Lord, the very source of my birth.
Verse 36. Natosmyaham tak charanam samiyusham bhavakchidam swastya yanam sumangalam yo yatmamaya vibhavam sma paryagat yatha nabhaswantamata pare kuta.
Therefore, it is best for me to surrender unto his feet, which alone can deliver one from the miseries of repeated birth and death. Such surrender is all auspicious and allows one to perceive all happiness. Even the sky cannot estimate the limits of its own expansion. So, what can others do when the Lord Himself is unable to estimate His own limits?
Verse 37. Naham na yuyam yadratam katim vidur na vamana deva kim uta paresura tanmayayamo hitabuddhayastvidam vinirmitam chatmasmal samam vichakshmahe.
Since neither Lord Shiva nor you nor I could ascertain the limits of spiritual happiness, how can other demigods know it? And because of all of us are bewildered by the illusionary external energy of the Supreme Lord, we can see only His manifested cosmos according to our individual ability.
Verse 38. Yasyavatarakarmani gayanti yasmadadayaha nayam vidanti tatvena tasmai bhagavate namaha.
Let us offer our respectful obeisance unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose incarnations and activities are chanted by us for glorification, though he can hardly be fully known as he is.
Verse 39. Sa esha purusha kalpe kalpe srajatyaja atmatmani atmanatmanam sa samyajati paticha.
The Supreme Original Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, expanding his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, the first incarnation, creates this manifested cosmos, but he is unborn. The creation, however, takes place in him, and the material substance and manifestations are all himself. He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into himself again.
Verse 40 and 41. Vishuddham kevalam jnanam pratyak samyak avastitam satyam purnam anadyantam nirgunam nityam advayam rishi vidanti munaya prasant atmendriyasya yada tad eva sattarkai tirodiyata viplutam.
The personality of God is pure. Being free from all contaminations of material things, he is the absolute truth and the embodiment of full and perfect knowledge. He is all pervading, without beginning or end, and without rival or Narada, great sage. The great thinkers can know him when completely freed from all material hankerings and when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of the senses. Otherwise, by unattainable arguments, all is distorted and the Lord disappears from our sight.
Verse 42. Adyovatara Purusha Parasya Kala Swabhava Sadasanmanascha Dravyam Vikaro Guna Indriyani Virat Swaratstashnu Charishnu Bhumana.
Varanavasai Vishnu is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause and effects, mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the senses, the universal form of the Lord Garbhutakshaya Vishnu, and the sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving.
Verse 43 to 45. Aham Avo yajna me prajesha dakshadayo ye pavadadayascha swarlokapala khagalokapala naralokapala stalalokapala gandharva vidya taracharnesha ये यक्षरक्षोरगनागनाथः ये वा ऋषीणां ऋषभा पितॄणां दैतेन्द्रविसिद्धेश्वरदा दानवेन्द्रः अन्ये च ये प्रेतपिशाचभूत कुष्मन्दयादो मृगपक्ष्यतीशः यत्किञ्च लोके भगवान् महस्वात् ओजसहस्वात् बलवत् क्षमावत् श्रीरिविभूत्या मवद अभुत्तराणम् तत्त्वं परं रूपवदाश्वरूपम्.
I myself, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, great generators of living beings like Daksha and Prajapati, yourselves, Narada and the Kumaras, heavenly demigods like Indra and Chandra, the leaders of the Burloka planets, the leaders of the earthly planets, the leaders of the lower planets, the leaders of the Gandharva planets, the leaders of the Vidyadhara planets, the leaders of the Charanaloka planets, the leaders of the Yakshas, Rakshas, and Urukas, the great sages, the great demons, the great atheists, the great spacemen, as well as the dead bodies, evil spirits, satans, jinn, kusmandas, great aquatics, great beasts, and great birds, etc. In other words, anything and everything which is exceptionally possessed of power, opulence, mental and perceptual dexterity, strength, forgiveness, beauty, modesty, opulence, and breeding, whether in form or formless, may appear to be the specific truth and the form of the Lord, but actually they are not so. They are only a fragment of the transcendental potency of the Lord.
Verse 46. Pradhanyato yan rasa amananti लीलावतारान् पुरुषस्य भूमना अपि यतां कर्णकसायशोषान् अनुक्रमिष्येत इमान् सुपेशान्.
O Narada, now I shall state one after another the transcendental incarnations of the Lord known as Leela avatars. Hearing of their activities counteracts all, all foul matters accumulated in the air. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you devotee for giving me opportunity to recite shloka and forgive me for all the mistakes I have made. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you both Matajis for really reciting the slokas so very well and beautifully. Unfortunately, today you'll have me today. So please bear with me. I don't know who's Jyoti Mataji. Do you want to say something?
Hare Krishna Mataji, sorry, I missed.
Do you want to say anything at all? Can I start?
Yes, Mataji, you can start. I'm just trying to work out how to share my desktop document. So
Uh-huh.
give me 1 minute while you do.
No worries. I can just do the invocation prayer, so that's okay.
Yes, thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Hare Krishna. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यामनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Jai Shri Krishna. So, dear devotees, today I think today is the end of this beautiful chapter, which is a very powerful chapter. It is the full Purusha Sukta, it is the form of Lord Vishnu, the universal form of Vishnu. And so, there is a slide in front of you, but just quickly, it's divided into different sections where there's a small slide which tells us what the forms are and what each form is and what it does and everything. So basically, it says like from verses, it just gives in gist, we have about 46 verses, I think, 46 verses. And there are divisions of each these verses. So this slide just gives an idea about it. So from verses 1 to 17, so basically this chapter is actually a dialogue between son and father and son, where Sri Narada is asking his father, Lord Brahma, to tell me how this whole universe is created and how it all started. And Brahma is trying to explain what he from his own knowledge, and which is given by Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna. So each text, so how Lord Brahma starts off, he starts off with the physical form of the Lord in the beginning. So all the text from here, from 1 to 17. So he describes the physical form of Lord. So the first verse, basically, he describes about the Lord's mouth, the beautiful lotus mouth, from where his voice comes out, and that is the controlling deity is the fire. And from the skin and other 6 layers, we have the Vedic hymns coming out, and then the generator. So that's the source of all these materials. Like your voice is from the mouth, and from the skin and 6 layers, is the generator of Vedic hymns. And from the tongue is again one of the sense organs for your taste and all the delicacy, and also which we offer to the demigods and all to the other forefathers. So they're all the productive centers of that. Then the next verse tells you about the second verse tells you about the nostrils. And the nostrils, the main generation is for breathing, the prana, and also it has the power of smelling. So where you from there generate the Ashwini Kumaras, who are the controlling deities, and then it also generates herbs and all the fragrances of the beautiful flowers, good and the bad things too, all the fragrances we say. Then we have the eyes. The eyes, again, it gives us that amount of energy where we can see the form of any material things. You can see how the form is. So it gives the form. So that is the production of forms, and also the light. And the eyeballs are the generator for the sun and all the heavenly planets of the whole universe. And this emanates from the Lord. And in the third verse also, they speak about the ears. Now the ears, what is the main function of the ears is for hearing. And hearing what? Mostly the Vedic hymns. And it's also the generator, generating things for the sounds, which are generated in the sky, which is of air and ether. Then the fourth verse describes the bodily surface. Now, this bodily surface of the universal form of Lord is basically, it is just like a main ground, where all the actual materialistic things happen, and they're all auspicious. So the skin over here, the skin of the Lord is again the generator for the touch, sense of touch, and the air, and all kinds of sacrifices happen. So this surface area is the place where all the activities for sacrificial things happen. Now on the skin, and when you have hairs on the body and on the head and face, so the hairs of the body, so every part of the Lord has some function or the other. So the hairs of the body, they are the cause of the vegetations, all this, whatever you need. And all the purpose of all this is how to do sacrifices. And why do we do sacrifices? We want to please the Lord. So all the hairs in the body represent all the vegetations required for sacrifice. And the hairs on the head and on the face, they represent reservoirs of clouds. So that is for rains and everything. Then the Lord's nails, and from there emanate electricity and all the stones. Then the arms. So now we come to the arms. So the arms are again the generator, the production of fields of where the demigods and the leaders and all, they thrive over there, and they protect the general mass of the people. So they want to protect. So it is like Kshatriya's duty to protect the thing. So same way demigods will protect this respective areas, or the planets. So then we have the legs. So the legs are again the shelter, and this is where all the three lokas reside, the people of the living beings of the three lokas, upper, middle, and lower, and the heavenly planets reside. Now, the lotus feet is a place where it is the place of protection from every fear. So that is why we all hang on to the lotus feet of the Lord, so that we do not become fearful, so become fearless. So we have to hold on. Everybody says, no, hold on tightly to the lotus feet of the Lord. That is actually what it means over here. This is what Brahmaji is telling to Narada. So lotus feet of the Lord is the most important part for all of us. Now, genitals of the Lords, they say from there originates the source of water. Semen means procreation, rain, and pleasure. Now, it also, why is pleasure? Because this is the place again where it is the place for procreation. And procreation is not easy. It is always painful. So if it is always painful, then you will not be able to procreate. And if you do not procreate, then you will not have this cycle of continuous births and deaths. So, but people tend to procreate because for the sense of pleasure, which is the genitals. Then the evacuating outlet. Now, evacuating outlet is again whatever anything which is digested comes out. So that again, we always say it is not good, and that place actually represents where all envy, misfortune, and death and hell. So we have to be. That's the deity of that abode is Mitra, and basically it tries to say that how do you not like or the stool of anybody. We always say with so much of ghrina and so much of hate for stool. So these qualities, envy, misfortune, are similarly equated. So if somebody is envious of someone, then we have so much of ghrina on them, so much of hate on them in a way, because you do not take that as godly. You'll always take it as non-godly, even though it emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But these are the things which are the negative things. These are misfortune, envy, and death and hell, which none of us want to be there. Another one more place is the back. So the back of the Lord, again, this is the place we do not see anything, and that is where is a place for frustration, ignorance, and immorality. So all the frustration, why do? We do not plan properly things. Why does anyone get frustrated in the first places? If you plan things properly, then maybe not being greedy, So if you plan things properly and just take one step at a time and giving time for it. For example, like, if you want to go for you want to do something, but you have to take all the factors into consideration, whether you can do the job or not in that particular time. So time is a factor over there. So in that time, in your knowledge, you have to understand, you have to equate everything. Okay, just example, I want to do some cooking. So this cooking will take, you have to know what the ingredients are and what are the quality of the ingredients, because you want to know how much time they're going to take for cooking. You should know your preparation time. Then you should know the cooking time. And then you should know the heating and the cooling time. Then you have to serve. So imagine a guest comes. So if you invite a guest, you have to give them a time. So in that time, so suppose the guest is coming for a lunch time or at 1 o'clock or something. So you have to have the food ready by 1 o'clock on the table. So your preparation time starts at early in the morning. So you have to plan everything, not at late minute. Oh, cooking time is only 1 hour. I can cook all the food. And when you can't do that, because you're not taking the time into consideration. So your time for sourcing all the materials, then washing them, cleaning them, cutting them, preparing them, cooking them, and then laying it out on the table, and then inviting the guest. You have to also invite the guest and give them some time to sit. So all those factors, it has to be factored in. When we do not factor in and when we don't plan properly, then comes frustration. So wherever frustration is the area for the back. So this is where frustration develops. And the second thing is ignorance. Ignorance is something, if you do not know what it is, and then you do a mistake, then obviously that's because of your lack of knowledge. But if you have the knowledge, you will not be ignorant. So lack of knowledge, unpad, where we do not have any knowledge of anything. So knowledge of spirituality. So if you know, if you have knowledge of if you're God conscious, then you might not do wrong things. But if you're not God conscious, you might do things which are not right, which may, for you, because of ignorance, you might not think it is not right. So, but for people who have knowledge, they think he's such an ignorant fool. That's what they say. He's doing all the wrong things, which they would never do it. And by doing, and ignorance again leads to immorality. So immorality is, again, you will do things which are not actually meant for a human being to do. And so all these areas, all these activities, they are present at the back of the Lord Vishnu. Then you have your veins. So the veins represent all the rivers and rivulets. So the rivers and rivulets are the main source of energy, of food, of everything, and that they are main source of the coolants, basically. And the main source of, the rivers and water is the main source of energy for a person to survive. And then we have the bones of the Lord. They are again, they equate to mountains, the big mountains again. The mountains again, they are the source of all the plants and vegetation and everything. So 8 to 10, they all come as now these are till all the personal features are, these are the personal features. Now again, coming to 11, now the 11th verse, it also mentions a bit about the impersonal feature of the Lord, which he says is all about the great. So all the impersonal features are just the aura around it is the abode of all the oceans. So where all the oceans live. The belly, the stomach. The stomach is the resting place of all the materially annihilated living entities. So anything materialistic things happening is in the Lord's belly. So the whole universe is in the abdomen of the Lord or the tummy of the Lord. Now the next organ is, the very important organ is the heart. Now the heart is basically, it's the abode of your subtle body. Subtle body is your mind, yeah? Mind, intelligence, and ego. So that is the abode of the subtle body. So anybody you know by heart, nothing can fulfill if you know someone by heart. It's you're doing it, if you're doing some things for the heart, that you can never replace. And if you're, how much ever materialistic things you do, if you don't do it by heart, with your whole heart, that's what they say, is with the whole feeling or the whole involvement, it doesn't have any meaning at all, because it's just like anything, So why do we call a living being and a thing? So a materialistic thing does not have this heart, or does not have this feeling, or does not have this consciousness, whereas every living thing will have this consciousness. Okay, I mean, even though they're all part and parcels, like you have had the table or a chair and everything, we might think they have consciousness, but in a way they do not have. That's where they've been used. But if a living being who is moving, and all the moving entities, we think, or all the growing entities, anything which grows, anything which replicates, does have a heart. But then again, when you go into all the materialistic things which are in this universe are part and parcels of the Lord. So we see that Krishna is there in everything. So sometimes you may not be able to give a proper answer, but when I'm trying to say, like, of the living things, anybody with full heart, they want to do anything, you will remember those things much better. And you would like to also repay those. You will never forget those things. But if somebody does not put that feeling in their heart and does things, you might not want to remember those moments or memories. Then the 12th verse tells about the consciousness again. So we're talking about, again, consciousness. So consciousness, what does it represent? So why does anybody has a consciousness? So the consciousness tells us whether we are doing the right things or wrong things. Yeah, right or wrong, it will tell us. And whereas now that is where is the place for all the religious principles. So what Brahmaji says, like, all the four, Naradas, Brahmas, and all the Sanatakumaras, All of them actually in a way reside there. So there's abode, and it's the abode of the truth. So basically the truth resides there. And the transcendental knowledge also resides in the consciousness. So anybody who has good consciousness will always try to do the right things. They'll always try to do the right things. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. And from the 13th to the 16th, we have, when it again tells us all about the how all the living entities, how they are, all the living entities. 1 second, let me see. I'm getting a bit. 1 second. 13 by 16. Yeah. So it tells that all the living entities who were born from the Lord, all the things were born from the Lord, like the demigods, demons, nagas, all the living and non-living entities, all of them, they're all covered by the universal form of the Lord. And even though over here, what they're trying to say is, even though he's transcendental to all of them eternally, existing in the form of not exceeding the 9 inches, so mostly in the heart, he tends to live in all these living entities. And in the 17th verse, they try to say the sun which how it brings light to everything externally and internally. The same way, the personality of Godhead is actually the personality of Godhead actually, he, by his expanding of his universal form, he is able to maintain everything internally and externally. So in this way, like how the sun is there, and how the radiation is all its external factors, and internally it is all the sun with the blazing energy. The same way, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead in his universal form, he's there, but all his extensions are all these material creations. So this verse number 18, again, it tells us about he's trying to say over here, Brahmaji is trying to say that the Lord, he controls all the immortality and fearlessness, and he's transcendental and to death and fruitive actions of the material world. But he's so huge and he's so great that we cannot even measure the glories of him. So it is difficult to even measure, as in mere mortals. We can't measure the glories of the Lord. And so in this way it goes on till, so from 18 to 22, they try to tell you about the spiritual world and the material world, what it means over here. So the material world is only 1/4 of all the Lord's energy, and the spiritual world is about 3/4 of the energy. And from verse 19, it says, from the 19 Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's again describing over here. From the 19th, it tells about, so in this material world, obviously, we have all the 4 forms like death, old age, disease, and birth and death, or disease and old age. Yeah, it has, which is there in all these 3 planetary systems, but it is never there in the spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, which consists of 3/4 of the Lord's energy, now in that, only people, I mean, these things are not affected. So you have these 4 factors: age, death, birth, death, old age, and disease, are never there in the spiritual world. So basically, there is nobody who will be reborn again. Yeah. So if you go there, that's it. You don't have to again come back and go through all these influences. So that is what it is present in the 20th verse. Now, 21st verse, it tells you about, again, even though God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the He is the powerhouse of all the transcendental knowledge and also of nations, no knowledge in a way. And now from verse 22 till 822, again, it tells you again all the qualities and from where the material qualities are generated. And even though he gives an example of how the sun gives heat and light, but it's still separate from us. The same way, the Lord gives us all this materialistic energy, but He's separate from that. So you do not have that attachment is not there. So even though He is, so He is away from all these materialistic things. In that way, like He is not when Krishna came here, so it is like He's not born as a normal materialistic thing, but he's transcendental. His birth and his going away from here is also all transcendental, and his form is also transcendental. So he does not go through all the things like how a materialistic person or a human being goes through. So he's aloof from all such energies. And then from 23 to 30, so this is where Lord Brahma will be trying to say that about his birth and how he was born from the lotus flower, from the abdominal lotus flower. And the only thing he had, he got the knowledge and he had to sacrifice, and he could get only the material from the limbs, from the bodily limbs of the Lord of the personality of Godhead. And again, it goes on telling of how he tried to get all these ingredients for sacrifice, such as all the wood and the flowers and ghee and how the altar was made and honey and all the ingredients you require for the sacrifice. All those are explained in this next 4 verses. And also how he said that by invocation, why do we invoke the name of the demigods is so that then ultimate aim is to actually, by doing so, we are anyway invoking Lord Vishnu, and so that to satisfy the Lord, we are doing these sacrifices, and that is the main reason why we have to do the sacrifices, because we want to satisfy the Lord. And goes on, Brahmaji goes on trying to say that this next 3, all the 3 verses that about the sacrifice, he talks a lot about how he tries to get the materials and try to do it. And then he also tells about the other 9 sons, other than Narada, all of them, how they sacrificed did the sacrifices. And he goes on telling about sacrifices for every different people, every different being over there, till verse 33. And then again he says, like, by Lord Vishnu's will only, he himself is the creator, and the Lord is the maintainer, of course, we all know, and how Shiva is made to destroy everything. And even though the Lord is the main ultimate creator and destroyer, but everybody is given like a duty to do that thing. So that when you give a duty to someone, then you can be free from it, isn't it? You delegate duties to. So you want to train someone to do certain job. Why do you do that? Because you want them to learn the thing so that you can be free and do what other things you want to do. So Krishna's thing is to be in Goloka Vrindavan. He wants to be with his mates and Radharani. And Lord Vishnu would like to be in the Shiro, in the ocean of milk, lying down with his consort Lakshmi Devi. And so he delegates all his powers to all these demigods and Brahma, Vishnu, Brahma, Maheshwara, and all the other demigods, so that it'll be less work for him, But overall, he is in charge. This is what he's trying to say. And now Lord Brahma is trying to say, like, I have now explained everything to you, and you know that the Lord is the cause, and he's the one who creates it, and he's the one who gets all the reactions from it, and he's the one who destroys everything. So now he's saying, like, I have me, even though I'm the first person, first living entity in this world, for me, I have got hold of the lotus feet of the Lord, so tightly. Now because I've done that, I've never been proved wrong. This is what Lord Brahma is trying to say. that I've never been proved to be wrong, because I've held the feet of the lotus feet so strongly, and never has any, because he created so much. See how much of universes is created. And so that means you're saying the progress of your mind never goes, you progress more and more. And he says, like, his senses, so all these you have the senses, they have not degraded, so they have not gone down. And how do they go down? By attachment. So if you're attached to any of these things, that is when your senses start degrading, or that is when you start degrading in a way. So whoever is attached, this is what the next verse he goes into saying, like, actually, whoever is attached materialistic to anything, mostly to the families, they will have to come back to this material world to be born again. So as long as you do not, if you detach yourselves, then maybe there is some hope for you to go towards the Lord. And also, one of the main things it explains of here is, the very powerful thing he says is about celibacy. So people have to maintain celibacy to understand the Lord. So this is one of the, see, now again, with procreation and pleasure and all these sense organs are created. All the sense organs are created to give pleasure in some form or the other. You feel hungry, you like that sweet so much, you want to eat that gulab jamun or that rasgulla or whatever it is. It is a sense gratification. The same thing again, you want to wear that dress so much that your eyes are so hungry, you want to go and buy that dress and you want to wear it. Or you want to eat that food, or you want to do something which is, that is all for sense gratification. So how can we be detached or not at all feel the senses? That's what you have to see. How can you detach yourself from the sense? Then only you can achieve, And I mean, celibacy is a big thing for in this Kali Yuga. Celibacy is the biggest difficult thing, which I would say, because people are so fallen down so quickly. And especially in this Western world is much more, but now I will not say, even that's wrong to say Western world, even India is also it is just aping the West, where they think this is the good thing, so they're just following the West, and they will find out later anyway. Then only the Kali Yuga will come and everything bhans ho jayega. So if people can maintain these vows, that is why in Krishna consciousness we have how these 4 regulative principles, if you can do, and also maintain celibacy and hold to the lotus feet of Lord, then you will start actually feeling things differently, seeing things differently, and then the Lord will only come to you. If you're attached to things, then it says that it will be all distorted form of the Lord. You will not see the Lord as the Lord wants you to see him in his normal form. It will be distorted. So you will be all confused in that way. So anything which is pure is always pure. So if there is adulteration, you will not always, there will be kitch all the time, wherever, even if in gold, if you buy pure gold, it will be gold as ever, and you will always like it. But if it is adulterated, it'll break all the time, or something will happen. So like that way, it is very important that we hold on to the lotus feet of the Lord. And then Lord the Brahma goes on to say that even though he says that even though I have created all this, he's not glorifying himself, but he's trying to say, like, even though I have created everything, even though I have done all these austerities, I've done everything, I still cannot understand the very source of his birth, like the person who's given the source of his birth. So basically, cannot understand his mother or his father. And so if he can't understand, who are we? We are just very, very small, we are, to understand. And so he's trying to say, like, you really have to work very, 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 very hard to understand the Lord. And Lord is not very easy. He will not come in front of you. But there is hope. He will come, provided you do certain things, So again, Lord Brahma tries to say that, therefore it is best for the Lord, for me, for all of us, to just hold on to the feet of the Lord, because this is the only one which will deliver us from the miseries of birth and death. And he says, such surrendering is all auspicious. It auspicious, and you will have the Satchit Anand. You know, by surrendering, you will experience the happiness. And so again, he goes on to say, even the sky cannot estimate the limits of his own expansion. So what can others do when the Lord himself is unable to estimate his own limits? Which is, I feel like Lord, of course, knows his own limits, but this is the way it has been explained over here. Now, he's also trying to say that Lord Shiva and him, who are highest among all the other demigods, they say they cannot know the limits of spiritual happiness. When they themselves, who are on the higher in the hierarchy, think they're quite higher, they cannot understand the spiritual happiness or limits. Sorry, they cannot understand the range of the spiritual happiness. So how can the other demigods and other people know? So it's just trying to say, like, glorifying over here, like how huge the Lord's powers are and how huge the Lord is. And so therefore, he is trying to say to Narada that we let us offer our obeisances, respectful obeisances unto the Lord. And whose incarnations and activities we need to chant them, and we have to glorify. For this is the only way we will try to know him, otherwise we can't know him. We don't know how the Lord is. And now we have to know, again from 39, it goes on to say that how from the personality of Godhead, from Lord Sri Krishna came the other plenary portions. And then the first incarnation, you would say, incarnation is Mahavishnu, is Karanodakshaya Vishnu. And how over here God, how the creation takes place, and how from him comes the creation, all the things are created and then absorbed into him. From his breathing, how the small universes are formed, and from then how they go back when he breathes in, everything goes back.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So sorry to interrupt. Really nice class, but please forgive me for interrupting. I hope you don't mind. We are having a bhajan.
Okay,
tonight.
Mataji, you have to give me 5 minutes because I can't stop the class halfway. Just give me 5 minutes and then I will just finish it off. Okay?
Oh, I see. Because Shyamala Mataji has another service to do. So that's why she asked if we can sing at the right time, if you don't mind.
It's all right, Mataji. 5 more minutes should still be okay. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay,
Let's
then.
not stop
Thank you
the class.
so
Thank you
much,
so much
Mataji.
for letting me, giving me the
Thank you. Just
feedback.
nearly
Sorry,
done. Nearly
Mataji.
done. I feel it's really wrong to finish off half like this way, so I thought, just give me 5 minutes, Mataji, I'll do it off. So, Karna Daksha Vishnu, and from there comes, obviously, just quickly do it. So from there comes all the how the universe is created, and then all the lords, how all the planets are created, and it goes on to say that we are only a small portion of the Lord, and then next he goes on to say that Narada, now I shall tell you the Leela Avataras, which are the transcendental incarnations of the Lord. And that's the last verse, Mataji. And over here, just last bit, I wanted to say, like, so we have the call in the second, between Ekapada and Tripada Vibhuti. He's trying to say that in Ekapada, we have the cycle of birth and death is present in this material verse. And Tripada is the one that three. So Ekpada is a materialistic verse, which is 1/4 of the materialistic verse. And Tripada is a spiritual world, which is the 3/4. So what things are present and absent, quickly, only that I'll say, and then we can stop it, Mataji. So there's a cycle of birth and death is present in this material verse, whereas in the spiritual world, it is never present. And the residents who live in this material verse are Graha Medhis and Abhrit Vratas, whereas people who are born, and then Tripada, there's no birth at all. So you have all the spiritual beings there. And there's Lord inclination. We're not inclined to the Lord in this materialistic verse, whereas those universe, but those people who are in the spiritual universe, they're more inclined to the Lord. And people in the materialistic world, they want to think that they are the Lord, Whereas, so therefore, they want to feel like everybody should pray to them. But in the spiritual world, they perform devotional service. So they know that the Lord is the Lord. And so they are always performing devotional service. And in the materialistic verse, we are always fearful of dying. We are fearful. But there is no death in the spiritual world. So they're never fearful. They're fearless. We're always forgetting. So we are ignorant. We're avidya. But that is spiritual world. It is, they always are, they're very knowledgeable and they have vidya. And the souls we have are less. So the souls are less compared to the number of souls living in this materialistic world is less. Whereas the spiritual world, they are innumerable. And so this is again 1/4 and 3/4. And Satchit Anand we have over here is very little. Whereas in the spiritual world, it is a lot. Please forgive me, Mataji, Mataji. I've done the class now. Shamla Mataji, please, sorry. Please forgive me for
No,
my
no.
offenses, Mataji. Hare Krishna. I thought like it would be so wrong to just stop the chapter in
No,
the
I
half.
agree.
So
I agree. And it was a very interesting one. Sorry, I joined the late, but it was really interesting.
thank you,
So
Mataji. Thank you.
I also didn't feel like to break. Then it would have been a break. It's okay. I'll join the next class 5 minutes late. That's all right. That's totally all right. Yeah.
Nearly done.
And
You can start your bhajan now, Mataji. Thank you so much. I
sure.
wasn't aware, Sriji Mataji, that the bhajan was supposed to be there. I forgot about it. Sorry for that.
That's okay,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
I really, really am sorry I had to sort of politely interrupt. Hope you don't mind.
No problem, Mataji. Please go ahead with the bhajan.
Okay, so what we'll do today is normally we have the English translation first before the bhajan, but today we'll make it an exception and have the bhajan first and then the English translation. So Shyamala Mataji, when you're ready, please, you can start singing. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sriji Mataji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna. This is a beautiful bhajan from written by Narottam Das Thakur, and it is in Bengali. And I know we'll be reading the English translation later, but it's a very beautiful rendition by him, where he wants all the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, along with his associates, to be always manifested in his heart, and he describes those pastimes. So this is all about that. Yeah. And please excuse me if I make any mistakes. And sorry, I couldn't practice a new bhajan this time. So I'll be singing the old one, which I know itself. Hare Krishna. Vrindavana Ramya Sthana Devya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Mano Hara Vrindavana Ramya Sthana Devya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Mano Hara Avrita Kalindini Re Rajahamsa Kili Kore Tahe Shobhi Kanaka Kamala Avrita Kalindini Re Rajahamsa Kili Kore Tahe Shobhi Kanaka Kamala Vrindavana Ramya Sthana Devya Chintamani Dhama Ratana Mandira Mano Hara Taramadye Hemapita Ashtadale Beshtita Ashtadale Pradhana Naika Taramadye Hemapita Ashtadale Beshtita Ashtadale Pradhana नायिका तारमध्ये रत्नासाने बशियाचे दुई जनी श्याम संगे सुंदरी राधिका तारमध्ये रत्नासने बशियाचे दुई जनी श्याम संगे सुंदरी राधिका रूप लावण्य राशि अमीया परिची खासी हास्य परिहास संभाषणे रूप लावण्य राशि अमीया परिची खासी हास्य परिहास संभाषणे नरोत्तम दास कोई नित्य लीला सुख मोई सदाई स्फुरुक मोर माने नरोत्तम दास कोई नित्य लीला सुख मोई सदाई स्फुरुक मोर माने वृंदावन रम्य स्थान दिव्य चिंतामणि धाम रत्ना मंदिर मनोहार वृंदावन रम्य स्थान दिव्य चिंतामणि धाम रत्ना मंदिर मनोहार हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा श्रीला नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर की जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय समवेत श्री भक्त वृंद की जय गौर निताय की जय हरे कृष्णा थैंक यू एवरीवन
Haribol Mataji, thank you so much for wonderful bhajan singing. Beautifully sang, Mataji. Jyoti Mataji, are you okay to do the English translation now?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Beautiful Vrindavan is filled with Chintamani gems and many jewels, palaces, and temples. Many regal swans play in the waters of the Yamuna, and in those waters a splendid golden lotus flower grows. In the middle of that lotus is a golden place surrounded by 8 petals. On these 8 petals, the 8 principal gopis reside, and in the center, Lord Shyamasundara and beautiful Srimati Radharani sits on a jewel throne. The great beauty of the divine couple and their charming joking and laughter continually showers nectar everywhere. Narottama Das says, I pray that these blissful, eternal, transcendental pastimes of the divine couple may be always manifested in my heart. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for the beautiful songs and recitation. Please forgive me. I just wanted to finish off the chapter, Mataji. Sriji Mataji, you got to forgive me for interrupting you. I just wanted to tell this last verse, if I may. So basically, we want to say that the Lord, and then we can just open the floor if you want for a couple of questions, or if at all, or any corrections mostly. So in the Isa Upanishad, the first invocation prayer, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Iva Vashishyate. So the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So this is what I want to say, like the God is really complete. So that's what I want. I'm really sorry for all the I mean, very quickly, and I don't know whether it was simple to say. I did not go through the whole. My main intention was to read through the whole thing, but I thought I'd just explain, and then maybe we had time to read. But I didn't realize how quickly the time went. My apologies if I've just blabbered everything. Please correct me, and please forgive me for all my mistakes and my ignorances. Everybody, all the devotees, please. Hare Krishna. Any questions at all? Any corrections, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji, wonderful class. Thank you so much.
Mataji, I'm really sorry, Mataji.
No,
I didn't
not at all,
realize
Mataji. No, I should
I didn't realize there
apologize.
was a bhajan, and I was thinking like, oh my God, I still have 10 minutes to say, and let me just quickly say. And I said, I can't leave the chapter half now, a little bit. It was just only a last verse was there, but I didn't realize it was just.
No,
Sorry,
Mataji, not at all. Please don't, please don't apologize. It was a wonderful class. You did
Mataji.
so well. And Mataji, you're so knowledgeable, and we really bow down to you for all
No,
your
Mataji, please. I'm
knowledge
not.
that you're sharing with us. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Mamta Mataji, Hare Krishna. Mataji beautifully explained, just like Shriji Kishori Mataji said. My Danod Pranam, oh glory to Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, I just had a quick question, if I may, Mataji. Question / realization, maybe. So, Mataji, you mentioned about all the demigods and Lord Shiva. Now,
Yeah.
the reason it struck me is because I was reading Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 sloka 8 with my daughter today, and in the same sloka it said where Lord Krishna is saying, well, Srila Prabhupada, the way Srila Prabhupada explained in the purport is that Lord Shiva came out of Lord Krishna's forehead, and obviously we all know about Lord Brahma because it's mentioned in Bhagavatam a lot of time that Lord Brahma came from the navel of Lord Krishna. But what he also said is that even though Lord Shiva came from the forehead of Lord Sri Krishna, they can't remember it because they're deluded because of the illusory and marginal illusory material energy. So does that mean, Mataji, that Lord Shiva, they all don't know themselves that they come from Lord Sri Krishna?
I mean, it all depends upon them. I cannot answer them. They're stalwart sitting in this forum. I'm sure we'll be able to answer better than me. But what I understand is that actually, when we look at it, or see, we have to understand our position where we are, and we have to understand where Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are. Okay, they are much higher above than all we are. Okay, so for them, when Lord Brahma himself he can't he can see that how such a small person he is, and with the Lords, so Lord is like a big ocean, and we are like and Lord Brahma may be like a drop over there. They're the same thing, and how all of us are coming from Lord Krishna. Okay, if you ask me directly or indirectly, all of us are coming from Lord Krishna because we are part and parcels of him. So even though we are human beings or even a small animal or anything, we are part and parcels of Lord Krishna. So all of us are coming from him. Yes, about the forgetfulness, it is difficult for me to answer that question. Whether Shiva does not remember or what, I cannot answer that. I think I'll leave the thing open to the whole to the forum, and I'm sure somebody from the forum will be able to answer your question, Mataji. But I think all of us are part and parcels of it. So, and none of us remember much how we came into this world. And this is what we're trying to understand, to see what a relationship with Krishna is. Induleka Mataji or any Mataji, anybody who's there who can answer.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mamta Mataji. Please kindly accept my humble obeisances over to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for such nice class. Doesn't matter rush or not rush. We deliver what we can at some point. So the question, Mataji, is Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of Krishna. That is, I am not sure where Mataji saw that, but we know that when Lord Brahma, he created the four Kumaras and asked them to go and populate the whole material world, they refused. So Brahma got very angry, and from his forehead, from in between his eyebrows, Lord Rudra appeared, one form of Lord Shiva. He appeared from there, and then when Lord Brahma told him to go and populate the whole universe, he created the bhutas and the chashas and the snakes and all, and then they started devouring everywhere. Even they tried to devour Lord Brahma. So then Lord Brahma told Rudra to go in the forest and meditate and stop procreating. That is one. Second thing is, who is Lord Sadasiv? Sadasiv is the one who appeared when Mahavishnu, when the material world was created, it was inert, it was not moving. So Sadasiv had to glance to the material world to agitate it so that the material world could come to life, right? So that glance, in the spiritual world, everything is animate. That glance is called Sadasiv, because Mahavishnu, Lord Vishnu, cannot impregnate Mother Nature. He is Vishnu, but we know Mother Nature, Durga Ma, is a consort of Lord Shiva. So that glance becomes Sadasiv, and that glance impregnates Mother Nature. So that is the two places that I know of the appearance of Rudra and Sadasiv. But I don't know, Mataji may have read somewhere. I don't know about it. So that is my understanding of how Lord Shiva appeared.
Thank you.
So Mataji, can you just tell, Hare Krishna Mataji, can you just tell me, where did you find that thing of Shiva is the glance? Because in this chapter where we read from this thing, it's always said the glance of this. Of course, when I read this chapter 6 also, I would not know from where the glance came, and 100% the thing got agitated, and then how the material world was created. But the glance, I was having a difficulty to understand over there. The glance, I was thinking it was Vishnu, but I was thinking, how can Vishnu do it? But where did you get this information, Mataji?
Mataji, did you read the purport of Srila Prabhupada? And also, of the whole Purusha Sukta. Srila Prabhupada also said that I am writing according to my capacity. He encouraged everyone to write books. Why? Because he said, churn the Vedas. And because our great acharyas, they have written so much. So you read from different sources. And in the Bhagavatam itself, it says that turn into. Let me find it, and then I will forward it to you.
Post it, Mataji. I know about the glance thing, but I was always thinking it was from Mahavishnu's glance.
Yes.
But then I was thinking I could not understand myself as to, and if they say Prakriti, of course, Prakriti is again given as. But again, when you look at it, look at it, who is Prakriti? Again, Prakriti is again coming from Radhika, from Radha's expansions they are. Okay, when you look at it, from Radha's expansions, we have Saraswati, Durga, Lakshmi, everything comes from Radha's expansions. So again, it is, I do not know. I have to find this out, Mataji. So,
yes,
because
it's as an individual. Yes, go ahead, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dhanvat pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is Amoghadasa. So this Mataji mentioned Lord Shankara, the Ashambhu, he has come from the forehead of the Lord. So in the Brahma Samhita 5:15, Vamangad Ashrayad Vishnum Dakshinangad Prajapatim Jyotirlinga Mayam Shambhum Kurcha Desha Davashrujat. So that is the same Mahavishnu created Vishnu from his left limb, Brahma, the first progenitor of beings, from his right limb, and from the space between his two eyebrows, Shambhu, the divine masculine manifested halo.
Okay,
So this Brahma Samhita 5:15.
5:15. Okay. Uh-huh.
Haribol, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
so much.
Thank you. But you know, Lord Shiva, he has like 12 incarnations. He has the lingas,
Yes.
he has Shambhu, he has Rudra, he is Sadasiv, he's so many. So different in different structures, we will come to how he manifested. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji, for a nice
nice
reference also. Yeah, from Brahma Samhita. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm looking into this, of course. I have to read this in detail to know Brahma Samhita. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Any other questions, Prabhuji, Mataji's? And I'm so sorry. I'm very ignorant in this materials. I have to read so much. You know how we have to go on reading to understand lots.
Mataji, you cannot call yourself ignorance. You know, people, because of this, it's so philosophical that people escape this canto 2. People just jump, they go to the stories. They don't read. Now to come and give this summary of this chapter, you are great, for sure.
Oh no, Mataji, Krishna. Krishna
Thank
is,
you.
I always believe Krishna is there. He wants you to do things.
Yeah, of course he's there. If
Just
he
go with
wants,
that.
you know, if he wanted, he would make you stop talking immediately, internet problem, this and that, but he gave you the opportunity. So you should be happy. Thank you. Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else? Anybody want to say anything? So should we adjourn our class today? I'm sorry, we just ran 7 minutes above. Thank you everyone for your support and really patience for listening to all of us. And we had a wonderful session, I hope. We'll see you all in the next class again. So let's do our prayers. Vancha kalpataruscha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for the nice class. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mamta Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shobna Mataji. Nice to hear your voice. Hare Krishna.